Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over our buy, sells, and dividends for June 23rd, 2024 to June 29, 2024. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so M1 Finance, that's going to be the first one we cover. So you guys can see all the different dividend payments here. It's actually quite a lot, even though we don't have a lot in all of these. So RA, $7.62, EFC, $16.43, USOI, $3.44. Main Street, 1 penny, 41 cents from CRF. ACP is, I think it's a combined total of $20.13, it looks like. So 460 plus 1553. I'm not sure why these are separate, but they are. So 109 from CLM, 4 cents from BSTZ, $17.92 from RIV, 48 cents from SFAL, $14.39 from OPP. Now, in terms of transactions, so the transactions we had, we basically just sold out of OPP, as you guys can see here, and moved a little bit of that money plus a little bit off the top. So basically all of the profit plus 5% of the initial investment over into PDI, because PDI was underwater, whereas OPP was actually in profits. So and then basically the next day we went and moved the remaining money that we were going to allocate back into OPP. So the total number for that is $81.96, as you guys can see here. I'm trying to think of what the next one is. So next one is going to be Robinhood. So in terms of the Robinhood dividends that we got, I'll just go ahead and show you guys that now. So it's basically from FEPI, TSLP, CLIP, and QDTE. As you guys know, FEPI, the Curve Invest ETFs, and CLIP, they all kind of pay around the end of the month, and QDTE is a weekly pair, so it pays roughly about every week. So just scroll down here, you guys can see $113.01 from FEPI. So I'm now going to go over to TSLP. This is the Tesla Curve Invest Premium ETF. So you guys I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but Tesla's actually done pretty well in the last couple of weeks. So that's always a good sign, because we have not seen any real life out of Tesla for like months, it seems. But this is how investing goes sometimes. Sometimes, things just, some of our own personal investments have gone down and or been down and flat for like 6 months. I mean, the altcoins that we have, we're sitting on those underwater for a couple of years. So I should tell you guys, kind of the nature of investing. So $12.40 here from TSLP. It'd be great if everything was green all the time, but to be honest, I just don't think that's realistic, having been in this industry for quite some time now. So CLIP, unfortunately, for some reason, has really kind of fallen off a cliff. I don't know what's going on here, but we do still have it. So CLIP, as you guys can see, recent payout was $69.29. I believe the dividend payment was like $50-some or something like that, or 50-some cents, I should say, per share. Not $50-some. My bad, guys. I wish it was $50-some per share. That would be nice, but I don't think that's sustainable. So QDTE, this is the Round Hill weekly covered call ETF. They do also have one for the S&P 500, and they have one for Bitcoin as well. I forget what the name of that is. That's YBTC, I think it was. But because we already have so many crypto positions, probably not going to buy that one. So as you guys can see, we have nearly 100 shares of QDTE as of right now. $29.79 from this one. So in terms of the total dividends from Robinhood, that total comes out to $224.49. Next one that I'm going to go over here with you guys is the profits. So TSLP, we had $30.91 from TSLP that we took in profit, and also $536.80 from HUD 8. So I'll show you guys those transactions right here. So first go down to TSLP and go down to show more, so you guys can see all this stuff. So you guys can see the recent transactions over the previous weeks. So sold TSLP. I don't remember what the cost basis was before this, the exact cost basis, but it was lower than $20.82. Okay. So then we bought back in because we're not going to sell for a loss. So then we bought back in $20.83, pretty much almost exactly right after. And of course, we made sure we kind of plan this around the ex-dividend date, so we would still get the dividend too. We don't, generally speaking, we will not sell a position even for a profit right before the ex-dividend date because we want to get the best of both worlds. So you can see we sold or bought back here at 2083 and then sold again later when it went up again at 2145 and then of course bought back in at 2145. Usually when we buy back in at these higher prices, we'll wait for them to drop in price and then start buying more as it goes down and then just kind of rinse and repeat the cycle. So now I'm going to go to HUD 8. So HUD 8, I'm sure you guys are probably wondering about this, but yeah, this thing just blasted off to the moon out of nowhere all of a sudden over the last, I don't know how many days, but this thing just absolutely ripped. As you guys can see on the chart here, it was high as nearly $17. We went over the technicals on that recently. We're also going to do another Bitcoin miner video here soon, so keep a lookout for that. So going over here on the history, again, I don't remember what the exact cost basis was, but it was much lower than what we sold it for. I think our cost basis on HUD 8 was like maybe 11 or 12 bucks or something like that. But you can see we sold 100 shares here for basically 1603 per share. So, you know what? I guess the easiest way to figure this out, so we can figure this out right now, just so I can give you guys kind of an exact number in terms of what the cost basis was. So let's do this. Let's go 1602, because there's always a way to figure this out, even if we don't have this as of currently right now. It'll pop up on the tax forms or whatever, but we don't have those yet. We're not going to get those till next year, so we can't use that right now. So you guys can see basically the difference between what we sold it for at 100 shares versus the cost basis of the 100 shares. So it looks like our average cost basis was basically about $10.65. So if I divide this by 100, that would give us our average per share. So we actually made quite a bit. It looks like about $5.50. So those total profits come out to $566.91. Now I'm going to go over here to Webull. So Webull, the clip dividends, as you guys know, it doesn't populate immediately in Webull. You can see it's not here yet. However, I will show you guys that the dividend distribution payment has been announced. So I was a little off. It's not 55 cents. It's 46 cents. So basically 46 cents times 184 shares comes out to this number right here, $84.64. I am going to count that this week. And again, that's because the dividends have been paid out, but as you guys saw on Robinhood, but unfortunately, because I guess of the way Webull works, it takes more time to process. So therefore it hasn't actually populated on this particular platform yet, which kind of sucks because that'd be nice if it did. But, that's just the nature of some platforms. Some platforms are different. Like M1 Finance, if you place a trade one day, it doesn't actually get filled till the following day. Whereas Robinhood, if you place a trade, you can get it filled immediately. So, yeah, basically what I'm saying here is that every single brokerage is different. So, I'm going to go over the buys here in a minute, but first, before I do that, I want to go over the options. Okay, so options for this week. So we have Riot, that's Riot Platforms, Bitcoin miners, 6/24/24 is a covered call. That's the entry date. Exit date is 6/28/2024. So we basically got $8 in premium minus $1 to close early, so $7. AMC 6/24 covered call. Exit date 6/28. $4 times 9 contracts, so $36. HUD 8, we got $50 in premium for that one, but it cost us $415 to close early because, of course, when the price skyrockets past the strike price, it gets much more expensive to close the contract versus when you have a covered call and the price goes down significantly, it becomes much cheaper to close the contract. So that's something to understand about options. But basically, that $415 loss was offset by both the premium and the profit that we took on HUD 8. So on that transaction, that was actually more like plus $150 or something like that. Everything all in. So Riot, again, 6/27 covered call. Closing date supposed to be next week, so 7/5. That's $11 times one contract. Mara 628 covered call 75 is the closing date. That's $54 times 2 contracts, so $108 because we do have 200 shares of Mara currently. Riot 628 covered call. This was on some more shares that we bought out of basically the money that we got back from HUD 8. We put all of that into Riot. So that's why there's a second covered call. So 628 covered call, and the closing date's next week on the 5th, July 5th, just after Independence Day, $13 times 1 contract. So the total in terms of options premiums for the week on this one is actually negative. So it's negative 179, as you guys can see here. But again, the profits massively offset that. So, not really too concerned about that at this point. I mean, we've had basically flawless, like weeks on end, flawless positive returns on options. So one off week isn't really going to be a big deal, especially since we have some other profit rolling in. So the total in terms of the profit that we made this week, $779. It's not a huge week, but it's not small either. So this is actually pretty good. I mean, for me personally, this would basically be like about the equivalent of 3 days worth of work. So not too bad. Plus, also locked in roughly about $1,200 to $1,300 in futures. So not going to count that in this equation because again, trading is day trading is kind of a toss up. Some days you have great winners. Some days you got small losers. It kind of just depends. We're not ready to equate those numbers into this yet. So those are the total numbers in terms of buys this week. So crypto buys, we had ETH and AIOZ. Actually going to go over that right now. So the reason why we're buying ETH and AIOZ and not Bitcoin is because the spot Bitcoin ETFs, in my opinion, have already been priced into the market. Now, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't go higher, but like I said, I'm expecting that not to happen until the end of the year. So you guys can see all the positions are still the same here. So literally basically everything that I'm pretty sure everything that we showed you guys last time we did one of these is still also in this portfolio. So let's go over ETH. So as you guys can see, we have primary balance here. This was some ETH that was staked a long time ago. It was just basically a conversion. It happens. So primary ETH balance is roughly about 0.13 ETH. And this is not all we have. We actually have more offlines. So roughly about, I think, about a quarter to 0.3 ETH or something like that. So you can see some of the transactions here. So that was a while ago. I'm not going to use that one. So June 23, you guys can see $50 here at 3,500. June 26th, $35 at roughly about 3,400. So we're buying as the ETH is going down. $35 again, June 26th, and that's also on roughly about $3,400 ETH. So I'm now going to go back over to the main portfolio, and we'll go down to AIOZ. Again, there's a few reasons for us buying AIOZ over Render. Yes, okay, sure, maybe Render is partnered with NVIDIA. That's obviously a big deal, right? However, AIOZ is a much smaller market cap, and as we told you guys before, the lower the market cap, the higher the potential returns. There is higher risk, but there's higher returns potentially too. And on top of that, this is an AI play and a DPIN play, okay? If you guys don't know what DPIN is, go look it up. So I believe the total invested cost basis wise into AIOZ is about $1,800. So it's actually quite a bit more than the current price. Our average price is like 80 cents. So let's go ahead and find the transactions here. So June 27th, $50, you guys can see at a price of 52 cents. And then June 28th, $35 at 55 cents. So kind of just buying on these lows here. And then once again, June 29th, $35 at 56 cents. So we're kind of trying to scoop some of these tokens up while they're still on the cheap. And again, AIOZ is down like 50 or 60% from highs. So last thing, right. So, okay, the Grayscale Trust portfolio, that's still the same. Still haven't decided to put anything extra in yet, although we may still do that. It kind of just depends on how things go over the following months. There's multiple reasons why we haven't yet put more money in, but we're considering it. Okay. We just, there's a lot to take into account right now. Presidential elections, Fed cutting rates, the uninversion of the yield curve, unemployment going up, and I could go on and on about this. So last thing I want to go over here is the buys on the Robinhood portfolio for this week. So we bought Crash, SoFi, Nvidia, AMZ, Squee, Murni, Aptly, Coney, OARC, Ybit, QDTE, MSTY, Riot, GUI, YMEG, FEPI, Mara, and even some AIPI. So in terms of the amount of money we put in, I don't remember what the exact amount is. I think it's like around $6,000 or $6,500. So let's go ahead and go over some of these. So the first one we're going to go over here is SoFi. Yeah, so you guys can see that we bought 39 shares here recently on SoFi. So I'm going to type these in. I think this would be a lot easier. I'll just show you guys the portfolio right at the end. Okay, so I'll go over here to show more on Nvidia. Of course, we're extremely bullish on Nvidia, so we have no problem loading the boat on this one. You guys can see all the different transactions here on Nvidia. So we bought like around another 22 shares or so, 23 shares. Amazon's obviously another great play because you already know if something like the pandemic happens again and people have to get locked indoors, which I'm not saying is going to happen, then of course everybody's going to buy stuff on Amazon, right? So that's very good for Amazon, very good for us as AMZ investors. Plus, it's generally a stable company. It's like a consumer-based company. So 9 shares here, 8.86 on the 27th and 13.24 on the 28th. So now I'm going to go over to Squee. So Square is I believe, a software-based company, but through Cash App, you can also do Bitcoin transactions, and they do also hold some Bitcoin, so there's that. So 10.46 shares here on the 26th and 15.6 shares on the 28th, as you guys can see here. MRNY, you guys are probably wondering why we're buying this one so heavy. It's pretty simple because of things like cures for aging, cures for diseases, genetic engineering, stuff like that. These are kind of technologies of the future that we think are going to be extremely prevalent in the coming years and decades. Haven't talked about this previously on this channel, but that is one of the main reasons why we're buying this one so heavy. So 11.84 shares on the 26th, 12.73 on the 27th, 12.61 on the 28th. And of course, it's under our cost basis, so it makes sense for us to buy this. So Aptly, of course, Apple, I don't think I need to say much more about that company. You just say the name Apple and everybody in finance knows what you're talking about. So 10.99 on shares on the 26th here, as you guys can see. Coney, still buying some more Coney. The Coney position is actually under water for us right now, but that's kind of to be expected. So 20.36, you can see the average cost basis is 25.3. And we bought 9.87 shares on the 26th, 9.98 shares on the 27th. So I'm going to keep going down the list here. So we got OARC. And again, the ARC Innovation Fund is exactly what it sounds like. It's innovation. So it's literally investing in technological advancements in the future. Okay. Which means they may not necessarily pan out in the immediate short term, not financial advice, but they may pan out big time, potentially big time in the next decade or two, or even 5 years. We'll just have to wait and see. So 18.79 shares here on the 26th on this one. So Ybit, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that Ybit is based on BITO, which we did have BITO before. As you guys know, that is Bitcoin futures. So as soon as Bitcoin goes back up, this thing's likely going to go back up. So we're down a little bit, but again, not a big deal. We have a relatively small position here. So 26 bought 11.26 shares, as you guys can see. QDTE, this has become a favorite of ours. We have a lot in this at this point. So we'll go over to show more here. So you guys can see the 26th, 4.39 shares, 27th, 5.49 shares, 28th, 6.55 shares. So we're actually getting more aggressive with our buys on this one because, again, we're very bullish on it. So MSTY, slowly moving the cost basis down on this one. We're still very bullish on MSTY. Again, we do not think that Bitcoin's true all-time high has actually shown itself yet. I suspect likely that will be closer to the end of this year. So 3.35 shares on the 26th, as you guys can see. Riot would be the next one. This is a Bitcoin miner. So basically, we took money out of HUD 8, which had gone up massively, and we took the position that we thought was the most beat down, which in my opinion is probably going to be Riot at this point. As you guys can see, this thing kind of has been getting slumped quite a bit over the last couple of months. And we said, okay, you know what? Maybe we'll buy this one. It seems pretty undervalued at this point. So we did. We loaded the boat. Cost basis is pretty low, 9.54 shares. As you guys can see, well, actually, it's not going to show here because of all the different options placed. So as you guys can see, we rolled over the money from HUD 8 and bought 173.81 shares of Riot. So next one is GUI. This is based on Google. We're very bullish on Google. We're glad that they came out and said they were basically pro AI. That's good for investors. So 10.82 shares on the 27th, 16.21 on the 28th. YMAG, which I saw in a video by, I think it was Rob Stuff. Shout out to Rob Stuff. Something about YMAX having crypto exposure, which kind of drags down the fund. YMAG doesn't have that problem. You know, in my opinion, I think he's right. I mean, it's a good point. So, I mean, we were going to own both anyways, but after thinking about it like that, I mean, yeah, it makes perfect sense. If, you know, when the crypto bear market rolls around, we could just roll the money from YMAX over into YMAG or into something else because, you know, the Magnificent Seven are not going to be affected by crypto. So, we'll go ahead and go over the transactions here. So this is YMAG. This is the Mag 7, not the YMAX fund. So 35.89 shares on the 27th, 14.25 on the 28th, and 0.82 again on the 28th. That was from some profits from TSLP. So FEPI, this is the Rex Shares FANG and Innovation Equity Premium Income ETF, not to be mistaken with the AI ETF, the AIPI. So we got our dividend here, and then 1.37 shares more added on the 27th, as you guys can see. Mara, we were thinking about doing a cash secured put on Mara, but the problem with doing that is it takes up double the money. So if it costs us $2,000 in our own money to do a cash secured put on Mara, $2,000 in margin also gets taken off the table. So that's kind of an issue with doing cash secured puts on here. But as you guys can see, we have 200 shares currently, and Mara has been performing pretty well, so not too worried about it. And you can see the transaction right here. We basically just dropped $2,000 on it for 100.35 shares at just under $20. So last one I'll go over here is AIPI. So this is a new one. Okay, the first dividend is not actually going to come out until next month, but we are so bullish on AI that we wanted to go ahead and load up the boat on this one already, and we already have our FEPI position fully stacked, so we just said screw it. You know, the price looks good. We think the dividend is going to be exceptionally good. The price appreciation is going to be exceptionally good. They have some companies in here that they didn't have in FEPI, like Super Micro, for example, and another company. I forget what the name of it is, but we basically just added 2 shares here, as you guys can see, and we're going to continue to add to this. So 2 shares on the 28th. Now, the last thing I want to show you guys before I close out the video here is the overall portfolio. So you can see all the options plays here, quite a few of them. So we significantly increased a lot of the yield max ETFs and a lot of other stuff too. So you can kind of just see all this here. So we have nearly 100 shares on quite a few of these. So MRNY, 100 shares of FEPI, 75 shares of SQUI, 252 YMAX, 89 NVDY, 100 of MSTY, 200 MARA, 273 Riot, 300 CLSK, 96 of QDTE, nearly 600 shares of SoFi. There's a reason why we're trying to get shares of SoFi, Palantir, and AMC up. As you guys can see, AMC is also up too, but we'll talk about that in a separate video. And you can kind of just see all the different increases here. So anyways, this is the buy, sells, and dividends for the week. Hope y'all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see y'all later.